How's it going, everyone? This is Cloud Chief, and in today's video, I'm going over how you make an Empyrean weapon. So, Empyrean weapons are really just Magian Trial weapons. So to get started, all you need to do is go to Rualud Garden H5 and check the Splintery chest. From here, there will be a list of weapons that you can go ahead and pick. Pick any weapon that is on the first page that corresponds with the weapon that you want to make. Obviously, if you want to make, say, the sword, don't grab the dagger, because then you're obviously going to be making the Empyrean dagger. So grab the specific weapon you want and make sure it's on the first page. At this point, now that you have the base weapon, just go ahead and trade it to the Moogle that is right next to the Splintery chest. At this point, he will start talking through the process of actually upgrading it. Just so you're aware, there are branching paths whenever you're going through and making a Magian weapon. The nice thing is, when you're making an Empyrean weapon, it is always the first selection. So whenever you're going through, and if a split ever pops up, just take the first selection if you're making an Empyrean weapon. It makes it really easy. So just get that weapon from the first page from the chest, and then always just pick whatever is the first trial when you're starting a new trial going through making the weapons. While of course every single weapon is going to be different, there are some cases where on certain stages there will be overlap, where say you might be killing the same NM or collecting the same items from the same NM as say another weapon, but for the most part the paths kind of are unique. So for the first 6 trials that you need to do when making your Empyrean weapon, go and kill NMs. And it's going to be a specific NM for each trial, and you need to kill that NM a number of times. The vast majority of these NMs are going to be Lotto NMs, so you just need to go out and just start killing placeholders for the mob and wait until the NM pops. Then you just need to make sure that you have the weapon equipped when you're killing the NM to make sure that you get credit. Because of this, just making sure there's no shenanigans, like I don't forget to switch my weapon. Whenever I'm camping for this trial, I always make sure I keep the weapon equipped. Also be aware, for the NM part of it, all you need to do is be in the party, be within XP range of when the mob dies, and have the weapon equipped with the trial on the weapon. You can also do this with as many people as you can fit up to an alliance. So in theory, you could have 18 people camping the NM pops, all 18 people get credit if they're all on the right step and all have the weapon equipped. So there's absolutely no reason when you're camping the NMs not to team up with people. No reason for you guys to be trying to fight to claim over NM and making everyone wait even longer. So after you've gone through and killed all the NMs that you need to kill through your process, the next step is going to be that you need to kill 3 Voidwalker NMs. If you need more information about Voidwalkers, check the link down in the description for my Voidwalker guide that goes over how you pop Voidwalkers and how that whole system works. But you just at this point go through and need to kill all 3 Voidwalkers to actually move on to the next step. So now that you have the Voidwalkers done, it's time to move on to the Abyssea stage. And so what you're going to need to do now is, for all Empyrean weapons, you're going to need to go into an Abyssea vision zone and basically kill a series of NMs. It's going to vary by which weapon, and once you finally get to the NM that you need, you're going to go ahead and kill him, and you will actually get item drops. You will need to accumulate 50 items from this NM, whatever NM it is for your weapon, to move on to the next step. Also be aware that the NM always drops one of the items you need when you kill it guaranteed, and also has a chance that is affected by Treasure Hunter for a second drop. So for this stage you will need to kill somewhere in the range of 25 to 50 NMs to move on to the next step in the process. So once you've gotten all 50 items from the NM that you need, you now get to go into a Scar Zone and do the exact same thing. It'll be a new NM, and you need to do the same process over again, where you now need to get 50 of these items to progress to the next stage. Just to be aware, after you've cleared the Scars area, you will actually now have access to the weapon skill that is associated with the weapon. So once you've finished with your Scar NM items, it's now time to move on to Hero Abyssea NM items. But this time, it requires 75 items to go ahead and upgrade as opposed to the 50 from the last two stages. Once you're done that, you've actually finished the Abyssea NMs and you don't need to do any more Abyssea stuff to progress the weapon further. At this point, the weapon will be level 90, and if you don't happen to have the weapon skill that is associated with the Empyrean Weapon unlocked so that way you can use it on any weapon, once it's level 90, you can actually go ahead and head to Walk of Echoes, and you can trade your Empyrean Weapon that's now 90 to the question mark, which will pop the Moogle, which will actually allow you to unlock the weapon skill so you can use it on any weapon. The next step in the process is that you need 1,500 heavy metal plates. And this is where the whole Empyrean process kind of becomes a drag, as heavy metal plates are not the easiest thing to obtain. So basically there are three main ways to obtain heavy metal plates. One is through Voidwatch, where you're going to kill NMs and you have a chance of getting one plate from defeating the NM after you open the chest and get your rewards. Or there is a different set of NMs where you have a chance to get a pouch when upon opening the pouch, I believe it's somewhere between 10 to 25 plates, which is not a lot when you need 1,500. Especially when considering you can kill 20 of these NMs in a row and never get a plate or a pouch because it's just all RNG based. The second way to obtain heavy metal plates is through Ambuscade. By accumulating points, you can actually purchase heavy metal plates every month from Ambuscade. Every month you can get at least 100 heavy metal plates, and then once every 3 months you can get plates from Gallantry as opposed to just Hallmarks, and when it's the items that you can get with Gallantry, you can get an extra 50, making it 150 you can get from Ambuscade that month. And the third way is just to go ahead and buy them. These are auction houseable and bazaarable, so you can just go ahead and buy them off the auction house or buy them out of bazaars to just accumulate them. I recommend taking a route of doing all three of these. Considering 1,500 is a lot, I would get whatever you can out of Ambuscade when you are trying to make progress on this. Turn around, make some extra gil, and buy whatever ones you can. And if a Voidwatch campaign is going, then, you know, go ahead and jump on some Voidwatch and get some while you're at it that way. I think by doing these three things, you can make progress and finish it up sooner rather than later. In my opinion, though, the heavy metal plates is the worst step in the entire process of making an Empyrean. After the heavy metal plates, your weapon will now be 95, and you are ready to move on to the last step to make it 99 through the Magian Trials. You either need to trade 60 Rift Cinder or Rift Dross, depending on which weapon. Rift Cinder and Rift Dross are obtained the exact same way as heavy metal plates, except for it's just different NMs and Voidwatch. There is 2 different NMs that I know of that can drop Rift Cinder and Rift Dross and vice versa, but they do predominantly drop one rather than the other. From Ambuscade, you can get 3 Rift Cinder and 3 Rift Dross a month. If it is the same month when you can also get heavy metal plates from Gallantry, you can get 2 additional Rift Cinder and Rift Dross. And lastly, you can also buy these off the auction house and bazaars. And so again, I would recommend doing all of this at the same time. I would personally hold off on making any purchases for one until you are ready at this stage and then you want to be wrapping up, because of needing 1,500 heavy metal plates and you accumulating some of them through Ambuscade. Typically, from my experience and the multiple times I've made Empyrean weapons, I have the vast majority of either the Cinder or Dross by the time I've accumulated that many plates, so there's not really that much to purchase, and in some cases I've needed to purchase none. I've actually acquired more than I needed to actually get it done, and in fact, when that was the case, I was actually selling some of the Cinder or Dross to turn around and buy heavy metal plates. So I would hold off until you're ready for the Rift Cinder or Dross until you finish acquiring the plates. And once you've done that, congratulations, your weapon is now 99. You can now take it to Obero and start going through the process that's done to make your weapon 119. Since this is an Empyrean, that would require Riftborn boulders. It is possible to make a 99 afterglow of your Empyrean by continuing and doing the last Magian Trial for the Empyrean Weapon, but I highly recommend you do not do that and you actually go the Obero path. Basically, by trading 3,000 Rift Cinder or Rift Dross, whatever item it was when you had to trade the 60, you can make the 99 Afterglow version of it, and then it would make getting it to 119 Tier 3 Afterglow much easier with Obero. However, that would cost you substantially more money than if you just go and do the Riftborn Boulder path. So I recommend at this point, as soon as it's 99, don't afterglow it with Magian Trial. Go to Obero and go down that path to get it afterglowed. And that about goes over how you make an Empyrean weapon. Honestly, out of making the weapons, this is by far the most streamlined. However, it is one of the more expensive ones because of how much the plates and cinder cost. Up until that point, it's not really that difficult. It's just a lot of busy work with NMs, which isn't too bad. Once you get to the heavy metal plates, cinder and dross is when it kind of becomes even more tedious than it's already been. However, I really like Empyrean weapons. They're really strong. If you keep Aftermath up, you actually get really strong light damage, along with you just getting a major boost to the attribute that is aligned with the weapon skill on the weapon, and which can often translate to other weapon skills. Just makes it just a really strong weapon with high damage for weapon skills and just doing really good damage. It's just, these are solid weapons and I really like Empyreans. Thank you all for tuning in, thank you for supporting the channel, and as always, may you have success all you do.